Hello people, I hope you're all well. New channel, new vlog, new trousers. Actually I don't think they are. I think they're the same trousers that I wore 11 years ago when I used to do many motor vlogs. I was going to call this vlog Heart Over Head, but instead I've decided to call it Harley Davidson's Are In My Blood. And the reason I've called it that will become clear when I tell you all about what's happened over the last few months. About 5 months ago, my head had a right moan at me, and it said, you've got a relatively, and I say relatively because it wasn't new, you've got a relatively expensive Harley sitting in the garage and you don't get out on it as much as you would like. Why don't you sell it? And if you want a motorcycle to go around and have a blast on, get yourself a cheaper Harley. And I kind of agreed with my head. I thought, yeah, that would be the sensible thing to do. I will go out and I will see what Harleys I can get that are cheaper than mine. Now, as I say, mine wasn't new by any means, but there were plenty of Harleys on eBay and various places that I could have purchased, but none of them appealed to me. They were either the wrong model, they were too old, they were too many miles, or they were in a state. And I'm a bit fussy when it comes to the condition of bikes. I don't like rusty nuts. Rusty nuts. She lives 2 doors down from me and I don't like her. I just couldn't find a Harley of the price range that I was looking to spend. I came to a conclusion at that point. This is my head again talking. If I can't find a bike of the age and mileage and condition that I really want in the Harley group of bikes, perhaps I need to look somewhere else. Now, if you watch some of my old Harley Man 5521 videos on the 2 channels that I've still got on YouTube, you'll see I have actually ridden other bikes, but they've always been a secondary bike, not the prime bike. And this time I thought, this is going to be my main bike, so I need to think carefully about which one to go for. Now, I like old school, and I like old school because I'm old and I went to school. And I don't know why I'm laughing at myself. Anyway, I looked at quite a few, did a lot of research, watched reviews, and the bike that appealed to me was a bike called a Triumph Street Twin 900. Now, the irony there is that back in 2005, I had to think then, the bike I traded in when I got my first Harley was a Triumph Bonneville T100. Now, the Street Twin 900 is a Bonneville variant, but it is very different from Bonneville. It's a bit like the Bonneville is the girl that's going out and's got all dolled up, lots of bling, and the Street Twin is the girl that's decided to stick a pair of trackies on and stay in. Some people say it's the entry-level Bonneville, but I quite like the idea that it's all stripped back, that it's not a lot of chrome. Even the tank doesn't have the Triumph chrome badge on, it just has a decal. And I like that. In fact, I even liked the older versions of the Street Twin. The more modern ones have brightly coloured tanks and everything else, and I like they had the original, it was probably not the original, but the early ones had a white tank version and a silver tank version, and I quite like the silver tank version because I thought it made the bike look even more retro. And as luck would have it, a local garage had that exact bike. Oh, nearly spiked me, but he hurt me. Wonder why. Anyway, the Triumph was the bike I thought didn't get any bad reviews about it, okay, if I'm going to change the Harley, I'll go for the Triumph. When I first got on the Triumph, I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm telling you now, I've got absolutely nothing negative to say about the Triumph itself. It is a lovely bike. It goes well. I could actually push it around. I could have picked it up if I dropped it. The engine's got a T, 900T it says on the engine, and that's for torque. Because what Triumph have done is in the Street Twin, they've slightly tweaked the engine to give it a little bit more torque lower down. Now, as most of you are probably aware, that has to come from somewhere, and normally off the top end. But I didn't care. I just wanted a bike that was going to sort of pull away when I wanted it to and have a bit of fun on. The problem was, and you knew that there was going to be a but, but, every time I went out, God decided to be very cruel to me because every single time, virtually every single time, I would encounter Harleys. I'd have them everywhere. They'd pull up at the lights next to me, there'd be groups of them going the other way, and it was really tugging at my heartstrings. But I kept telling myself, you're doing the right thing, you're doing the sensible thing, and you very rarely do the sensible thing, so go with it. What finally tipped it for me into heart's favour was a journey that I made on the Triumph from the Leicestershire-Northamptonshire border, where I live, to Wiltshire, or as they call it, Wiltshire. I did what I normally do when I go down there on the bike, and that is outside Swindon I would stop, have a coffee and a little stretch, not because I needed to, because I wanted to, and everything was fine. The Triumph honestly did not miss a beat all the way there and back. But what I found was, on the way back, whereas on Harley I would slow down for horses, whereas on a Harley I would divert on my way back. I would divert across country so that I could have what I knew would be a longer journey home. I would have a more pleasurable journey home. Kind of avoid motorways, dual carriageways, that sort of thing, and have a nice country route back, a bit like this. Look at all of this. It's lovely. What I found was that on the Triumph, I got to a point in the journey where I just wanted to get home. And I'd never felt like that. And I realised that I hadn't enjoyed the journey as much as I had on a Harley. I mean, on a Harley, I've been on ride-outs with groups of other Harley yobs, and, and when it's time to go home, I've diverted and gone somewhere else. Not that I don't want to go home, but I just enjoyed the ride so much, and I didn't enjoy it as much. I still enjoyed it better than being in a car, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't do it for me. I went home and I announced to the family, I think I need to sell the Triumph. And the reaction I got was, really? There's a surprise. Anyway, I looked around and I found this beastie, and I'm not going to go into anything about this beastie because I'm going to do a vlog where I'll explain all about what this is. It's a bike I've had before, it's one I've used on many vlogs, not the same bike but the same model, and I will explain everything in a later vlog. But this bike I bought from a chap in Wolverhampton, probably I'd say, I don't know, a couple of hours away from me. So I was worried at how long it would take me to get back into the riding of a Harley, because obviously I'd spent 4 months riding around on a Triumph. I wasn't sure how I would cope with footboards again, and how I would cope with indicators being on the left and right hand side of the bike. but it took me about 400 yards. It took me to the end of the road when I picked the bike up to suddenly feel like I was home. It felt so good being back on a Harley, and this is my preference. I know it's not everybody's. And when I got home, I heard something that I hadn't heard for a long, long time, and that was, I've got the kettle on because I heard you coming. And I don't need to ask if you think you've made the right choice, because I can see it on your face. And I suppose my reply was, I'm sorry, I've made a mistake. After 20 years of, or nearly 20 years, it'll be 20 years next year, after 20 years of riding around on Harleys, I guess Harleys are in my blood. Nothing else, no other bike sort of makes me feel the same. And it's a personal thing. I think biking is a personal thing, and I know that, and people hate them. Some people hate them, but I love them. And that was all, folks. That's all I wanted to say. I will be doing some more vlogs just to annoy you. I haven't said this for a long time, and it feels so good to say it, but if you're a biker, you ride safe. If you're not a biker, you be safe. And I'll catch you soon. Bye, guys.